Welcome to the High EQ Marketer. I'm John Busby. This show is about learning from the best and most interesting marketers in the world, which are, not a coincidence, highly emotionally intelligent. If you'd like inspiration, lessons, war stories from startups or Fortune 500 companies, that's why we're here. So let's go. Really cool guest and episode today. Ingram Micro is a Fortune 100 company with give or take $50 billion in revenue. And today I had the pleasure to speak with EVP and Chief Digital Officer Sanjib Sahoo. We started off talking about digital fitness and digital operations and the blueprint for making an initiative successful that may have previously been called digital transformation. How do we make that successful? We also hit on what Sanjib sees as the common thread of superstars in his organization, the future of leadership, and a whole bunch more. You're going to like this one. Hi, Sanjib. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, John. It's a pleasure to be here today.
We met each other for the first time last month in sunnier climates. You're up north in Chicago. I'm in Seattle, shivering here. Thanks again. So let's start with the concept of digital transformation. I'm at a company that's just a dozen years old. This might sound like a strange question to other younger companies, but there are a bunch of billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies that really need this. What is digital transformation in your mind?
Yeah, I think, John, the digital transformation, that term particularly sometimes is overused and sometimes is misunderstood. In my mind, the term digital transformation is dead. It doesn't mean anything. I'll tell you why. Because transformation means you have a stop sign, that you are doing something, transforming. But you're always going to be transforming in today's day and world. What does it mean? It means that technology, experience, capabilities will keep on improving. What companies need is to create how to run digital operations, how to always, with technology evolving and maturing, create a digital operating model to continuously capture and create value. That operational spirit is very important. So I actually define digital transformation as actually a spirit, a DNA that is more about culture, people, rather than just using technology. Because you will be transforming a company maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when technology was, let's say, data. There was big data. Today, you're doing machine learning, AI. Tomorrow, you will do something else. So technology will keep on changing. But that spirit to always leverage technology at its best form to create value, focus on customer experience, create value at the speed of need, to pivot models, that is true spirit of how you have digital transformation. So I actually define a term as digital fitness, where to evaluate how fit you are digitally, what's your digital BMI, and then keep on working towards it. Like physical fitness is a lifestyle change, digital fitness is a mindset change. That is all about spirit and DNA.
I really like that term, digital fitness. I'm going to start using it. And Ingram Micro, I saw the company characterized like the largest company that you've never heard of. It's a company with tremendous scale, technology, distribution, one of the largest shippers of information technology products, services, et cetera. Maybe if you could talk about some of the opportunities that you've seen at Ingram Micro and define for the audience about what the company does in a real way.
Yeah, Ingram Micro is obviously, as I said, a Fortune 100. We are one of the largest technology distributors in the world. We reach about 90% of the human population. We connect all the big technology brands, more than 1,500 of them, to the resellers, ISV service providers, and we operate, in more than 59 countries. So it's a massive ecosystem, the technology ecosystem that we deal with, So we say that, you may not even have a single day in your life without Ingram Micro for the last 43 years. The opportunity that we have in this industry, not only at Ingram Micro, the technology distribution industry, is really bringing that consumerization experience into B2B. I call it Sunday to a Monday, experience. So you can actually have your amazing app experience on a Sunday, ordering food, or watching a game. So how do you make that consumer experience in distribution where you don't have to pick up the phone and you actually do everything more of self-service, bringing that consumerization experience. Second is creating a single pane of glass for our, partners where they can not only doing the transaction, they can interact with us. They can look at subscriptions, renewals, opportunities, insights, recommendations, not just come to us for a price and availability check. So that entire experience can be changed quite a lot, and that drives more value. And if we keep on giving that data and insights and recommendations to our partners, we become from becoming just a, a platform for P&A or procurement to a truly value provider to these companies, these partners, where it's truly like a $54 billion revenue company behind them to make their businesses better. Same thing will go to our vendor partners where, we are working on making their experience better, making sure how we can handle the information, how we can automate some of them, how we can give them information back about their product roadmaps, what products work versus what not, how can we aggregate and bundle solutions, for them. So all of this is all about the opportunity we have. And so we are becoming an experience driven organization where we focus on the customer experience, we focus on the employee experience and the vendor experience, and tie it together to a massive data strategy where we are working on, aggregating data, building real-time data mesh with machine learning and AI.
So I want to go back to that concept of a digital fitness mindset, and how do you diagnose what your BMI is or whatever? If you were to take a new job, how would you know what your digital fitness is? I get the analogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the main, you start with digital BMI. It's actually a state of how fit you are based on certain factors. Do you have your legacy systems nimble enough? Can you pivot fast? What is your time to market? Do you have a data strategy that can help you having a data driven, decision driven organization? Do you have an omni-channel, customer experience? Can you operate, integrate, innovate at the same time? There are various factors when you evaluate creates your digital BMI. And based on your digital BMI, you can actually drive what is your digital fitness schedule or program. Because let's say BMI is 50 and you want to start running on a treadmill at 10 miles an hour, you can't. You'll get a heart attack and you will die. A lot of companies, without understanding where they are in their digital fitness, start working on the coolest machine learning or the AI or the mobile apps or the data. It is not a recipe for success. You need to understand where you are, what is the business value that you want to create, what is your strategy, and then try to create a fitness regime based on that, which will include the spirit. Obviously, you bring the entire organization under the spirit. Second is planning, the balancing the art of possible with the art of feasible. There is always a lot of possibility, but how do you make it feasible with the time, scope, schedule, budget that you have? Third is really technology, your architecture, your product architecture, platform architecture, your legacy systems. Can it help you move faster? Can you pivot faster? Can you make it open? So there's a lot of things that technology sometimes limits you to do that. But you should not start with technology. It's a vehicle for you to drive value. And the fourth is governance. How do you create a data-driven, organization where you always keep on the ROI, the value it is creating, and you're willing to prioritize and pivot if things are not working well. So these four actually help you to drive a fitness regime, which is totally based on what state of fitness you are, what's your BMI. An organization which is really mature will have a different fitness regime than an organization which is really starting right now. And that's the common mistake, companies make. And even how old you are, it can be a startup or a 5-year-old company or a 20-year-old company. You need to figure out your BMI. Based on that, you drive your digital fitness, schedule.
The other thing that you need to do is invest or build an investment plan to upgrade your fitness, lower your BMI. And in practical terms, how should companies investing in digital operations think about their investment ROI opportunity? Things like the time horizon, or what the level of impact can be. What guidance would you give to whether it's a CFO or a chief digital officer thinking about these things?
Yeah, I think you should start with obviously defining what you want to become in your in a time frame. What's your strategy? Is it the same strategy or different strategy? Where you want to become, what you want to become? It's also about analyzing two kinds of gaps. A company should always analyze opportunity gap and performance gap. See, performance gap is easier to fix. So if you need to improve your P&L, EBITDA, revenue, you can have many ways to fix your current performance gaps. What is difficult is to actually fix opportunity gap, which means you have to take some bets and predict how the market will move. What are the biggest opportunity? You always have to take some calculated risks, because if you're just performing the way you're performing, you have risk of disruption. The market might change, or you also have the risk of falling short from your competition. So your investment should actually plan both. One, I call it perform as you transform. You should have certain investments to actually make sure you're performing better. But also you should have certain investment to make sure you transform, and you transform for the future, but not for a long term. You need to figure out a plan for continuous value creation in an incremental way. So a lot of people think that innovation can be done in silo and a few years and everything should be greenfield. It's completely not true. See, Apple did not innovate the phone. All they did was make a better phone. So innovation can be incremental. So as a CFO or a CEO or a CDO, I tell everybody should be chief value officer. Focus on value, either in performance gap or opportunity gap, where you want to create your value. Plan a smaller horizon and keep on investing if you see value, and have a really good feedback loop and performer-based mechanism to figure out if investments are working or not, and then keep on going at it.
Sanjib, one of the really cool things about your job, one of the many cool things, is that you have a large part of the technology team, and you also have marketing in your organization. And I imagine there are a bunch of advantages, maybe it's deliberate, to having those teams sitting together organizationally. Is a lot of what you do about bringing a mindset to Ingram Micro?
Yeah, absolutely. If you think of this way, we are on our journey towards becoming a platform company. That's Xvantage, right? And a digital platform cannot sustain without digital marketing. And digital marketing is now the norm on any marketing. So it's a nice blend, right? So you are taking marketing to drive the communications, messaging, how you should be marketing, how you actually look at attribution, how you look at advertisements, how you look at, partnerships. At the same time, if you need a platform, because you cannot have digital marketing without a platform. So it really fits with. So we have my Digitech team, which is creating the platform, product, data engineering. I have my Digi Ops team, which is operating that platform. And I have my Digi marketing team, the whole marketing team, really driving value out of that, platform, and then having the right messaging, doing the right partnerships, doing the right ads. But it all ties to a mindset, right? A mindset is, how do you drive change? So Jen and I, head of marketing, she works closely. We work very closely to make sure. One of the things I tell her is, how do you navigate the organization with the right messaging, right communication, the right artifacts? Then boils down to focusing on the customer experience. I strongly feel, the marketing, if you're really focusing on customer acquisition or retention, they need to own the customer experience and then drive the customer experience from the get go. Then comes product engineering, but first focus on how should be the experience, and then experience ties to the brand and the messaging, everything. So that's a really good mesh that we have created with technology, operations, marketing, change management. So it really works very, very well, and the teams work really well together, and that helps us to move very fast, and also keep a very, as you said, the mindset to change. It's not easy to change a $55 billion 43-year-old company to move, pretty fast on a new initiative, which is a abrupt change to the way we have done business. So all of this helps a lot.
Sanjeev, so much of your career has been about bringing widespread change within an organization. And every organization talks about the importance of continually evolving and embracing change and all that stuff. But it can still be scary. It can still be threatening. What are your tactics, or what's your approach for getting everyone to carry the flag? Is it what you were saying before about approaching things incrementally, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's a combination of different factors, John. I think first you have to understand the vision and the mission. Second is you need to be good at the art of storytelling, and the storytelling will be different based on the audience. You have to make your employees feel that how is it going to help them? How is it important for them? Make them part of the journey. Use design thinking a lot to understand perspectives, be empathetic. You cannot drive change if you are not compassionate. You also cannot drive change if you are not vulnerable. Before, leadership was all about being perfect. Today, leadership is all about being vulnerable, where you have to show that you're willing to learn, you make mistakes, you need your employees' help to make it better. And then through design thinking, you come up with a joint experience to focus on the customer. If you start with the customer journey and reverse engineer, it's much more easier because you then start with the focus on why. If you focus on the why first and then do what and how, then you can actually, I call it, end with a wow. This whole binding everybody on the focus on why is very important. Then other thing is I call it make ground and take ground. You don't ask for massive, large investments or show incremental value creation, incremental success. Celebrate your success. Create an engagement platform or a collaboration platform within the company. Like we have our internal social collaboration tool that drives change management, like an internal Facebook. We post updates, we take feedback, we take polls. It creates engagement in the company. And then it's also about, I talked about that spirit, right? If you have the spirit, really drive, tell 50 times, 100 times, 200 times, and drive change. So that's how you drive change. There is no one formula, but also keeping a business mindset, focus on the customer, focus on value is very important, because technology, even though it's shiny, is pointless if it does not drive value. Majority of our organization is non-technology. How you sit on the table and explain them, understanding the business and focusing on value is the most important aspect. So make them part of the process, understand what is in it for them, understand how you can help your customer, and you will see massive, success in this.
I love that answer, and also the focus on leadership of being vulnerable as a way of bringing about change. I know that in your team, you've got a large team. You have a bunch of great performers. When you think about the superstars on your team, what's a common thread, maybe besides vulnerability, and particularly at larger companies that can serve as advice for listeners who might be at Amazon or Google or another large company? What thread do you see for folks to really stand out?
Yeah, there are certain obviously common threads. So number one, I feel the bias for action is more important than bias for results. Sometimes you try hard and you fail fast, but the great leaders have bias for action. They don't sit stagnant. They're never complacent. They always have bias for action, sense of urgency. That's something which is very important. The second is attitude is way more important than aptitude, right? The people who are successful in the team, the right attitude, they take criticism, they can work with others, they have high EQ, they can collaborate, they want to do right thing for the company. And I have seen some people who have amazing aptitude, very smart, but they don't last long. Why? Because they don't know how to work with people. They don't have the right attitude. So attitude is very, very important. Uh, Third, I would say execution. That execution focus, no constraints, no excuses. That focus on execution is very important. Sometimes a lot of the leaders want to be part of the problem, but not part of the solution. And having an execution approach where anything comes, we can actually make it happen. That is what I look for in people, like where, we'll get it done. That's extremely, important. I round up, by saying few things. One is I call it be your own CEO. This drives accountability. Whatever you do, little that you do or big that you do, think you are the CEO of your own island. Don't just say you are engineering or product or marketing or operations. Try to go out of your way to make it to successful end to end. That's how you become a CEO. So everybody becomes their own CEO, then we should be a much more successful company. So I really have them focus on that be your own CEO. So all of this also combines with compassion. The best leaders are compassionate. They have understanding of perspectives of other peers and people. As I said about relentless execution, that is very important. Communication. Communication is one of the most important aspects of leadership. How you communicate with your team, how you communicate with your peers, how you communicate with your people above you. And I call it communicate with compassion, but execute with passion. So you got to have a very compassionate style of communication, and then obviously the last thing I would say, John, is passion. You cannot really do anything. There's a difference between a job and a career. There's a difference between a leader and a boss. There's a difference between a project and a product. The common theme between difference is passion, because the only difference between extraordinary people with extraordinary results, and ordinary people and ordinary results, it's just passion and mindset. So the best performers have the passion, they have the mindset, they are willing to go this. They don't look at it as a job, they look at it as a way to drive value. So that's what I would say.
Sanjib, thanks so much for talking to me today. Last question for you. When you think about your own personal journey, what do you want to focus on in 2023?
I think obviously we all are trying to be better leaders, better professionals every day, right? I want to focus on digital fitness as well as physical fitness, in 2023. I want to focus on more value creation, at Ingram Micro, make our Xvantage platform super successful. We want to focus on creating an amazing team, and always, building a team that really is strong and powerful, both retain the best talent and attract the best talent, really partner with our businesses to drive them value that I have promised. So there's a lot to be, doing, and a lot to be focused on. But most importantly, instead of looking at the whole year, I look at it every single day. If I am a little better in what I do, tomorrow than I did yesterday, that makes me, an amazing transformation leader, because the best transformation is not called as transformation, but if every day you can be better than yesterday, then the day become week, week become month, month become years. And if you accumulate that, you will be amazingly transformative. That's what I want to focus on.
I love that answer. Thanks so much, Sanjib, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, John. Pleasure to be here. Happy New Year too.
You've been listening to The High EQ Marketer. Subscribe to us anywhere you listen to podcasts, and if you enjoyed this episode, please drop us a like, rate the show 5 stars. That's the high EQ thing to do. Thanks for listening.